Hey guys, welcome to the first video. Today we'll be trying to take the first class, and I'm revising as well as trying to teach you. We are basically sharing information out here. So as I have said before, if I make a mistake, let me know. Of course, I cannot correct on the video, but we can make amends in the next one, right? So when I went for my first ever ground class, which was in flying school, most of my learning was on my own in my books. But when I went for my first ever class in a flying school, this is what they teach us. So there's Earth, and Earth is the basis of everything, right? So there's an atmosphere around Earth. So atmosphere is composed of what? Atmosphere is composed of air. Now air is composed of a mixture of gases. So we all have learned in school that air is a mixture of gases. And what is atmosphere? Atmosphere is basically composed of air. So air, like this is the diagram which they basically show us initially. So there's an atmosphere around the earth like this, and it's approximately around 500 miles around the earth. And you can see that the air or the atmosphere is composed of three gases, or basically three components. So the biggest component of air is nitrogen, which amounts to 78% of the atmosphere, oxygen, which amounts to 21% of atmosphere, and then other gases, which includes like argon and water vapor as well, which makes 1% of the atmosphere. So 78 plus 21 plus 1% is 100%. So there's nitrogen, oxygen, and other rare gases, which includes argon, neon, etc. And also water vapor is also a part of the other gases. Okay, and this is around the earth, around the earth up to close to 500 nautical miles. And yeah, this is all held together by the force of gravity. Okay, so this is like the basics of our atmosphere. If you open up any book which talks about the principles of flying, basic principles of flying, the first thing they'll talk about is atmosphere. Okay, so again, I'll keep things simple because this comes in the exam. So there's atmosphere which circles the earth. All right, that's the air that we breathe, and it's a mixture of gases, which is nitrogen, oxygen, and other gases. 78%, 21%, and 1%. Right. So that is the basics of that. Now, when it comes to it, I also want to talk about three basic, three basic definitions. You can call it that. It's three basic stuff that rules over aviation. You can say so. So every day, every single day, as a pilot, it will affect you. So these three factors are temperature, density, and can you guess the third one? That is pressure, right? So all these three things go hand in hand. So I want to read out the definition of let's go with pressure first, right? So pressure is the force per unit area acting on a surface, right? And this is measured in newtons per square meter. So pressure is newtons per square meter. So this is what the value would look like, and it's called as Pascal, right? The unit is Pascal, and in aviation, pressure is generally measured in bars, which is 1 bar is equal to 10 raised to 5 pascals, and there's also millibar, which is 1 millibar is equal to 1 hectopascal. That's what we'll come back to all of this really soon, but pressure in simple terms let's say if I apply force against this wall, my hand is applying a pressure against this wall. So that's the basis of it. Okay. Now in case of pressure, there is it can be divided into three parts. That is static pressure and dynamic pressure and the total pressure, right? So we'll start with static pressure. So in case of static pressure, let's say we have, let's say, a box, right? And the box has air in it. So this air is applying pressure against the box. I'll read out what my note says. When air is stationary, it exerts pressure equally in all directions. So this stationary air, I should have drawn the air molecules in blue, but I hope you understand it. So these are air molecules and it is applying pressure in all directions, and it is static, it is in one place, and it is applying pressure against this box in all directions. So that can be called as static pressure. Now there is something called as dynamic pressure. So dynamic, you can in basic English, dynamic basically can be related to movement. So let's say when a moving particle of air is brought to rest against a surface, that can be called as dynamic pressure. Let me read out to you. This occurs when moving air is brought to rest on the surface of a body. So let's say let's say you are riding a cycle. The air molecules that hit against you, they can be said to be applying dynamic pressure against you, right? So that is dynamic pressure. So static pressure is when the air is static or it's not moving. Dynamic pressure is when the air is moving and is applying a pressure. Let's say I throw a molecule of air against the wall and it hits against the wall. That is an air molecule applying a dynamic pressure against the wall. And static pressure, when it's in one place and applying pressure in its static sense, right? Now the third, I told that there are three pressures, right? There's static pressure, dynamic pressure. The third is the total pressure. So when you add static and dynamic pressure together, that amounts to the total pressure. So that was pressure. Now I want to talk about density. So first things first, I'll read out the definition to you. The mass of material per unit volume measured in kilograms per cubic meter. So density is kg per meter. So this would be the unit of density, kg per cubic meter, right? The density of air is an important property, that's what it says. But I'll tell you one thing. The moment you start flying, every single day, you will be affected by density, and of course pressure will also play a part in it. But the next thing that we are going to talk about, temperature, is also a huge part of how density is affected. But density of air affects your performance of the aircraft to a great extent. So density is a very important topic. We'll be covering all of it in detail really soon, but you know what pressure is right now, you know what density is right now. So let's say in a box we have air, and the more the air, the more dense it is. Let's say you're packing a suitcase, right? The more stuff you put in it, the more dense it gets, the more density it has, right? If you remove stuff out of it, if you remove things out of the box or your suitcase, it is becoming less dense, right? So that is density in simple words. Temperature, let me read out the definition to you. A measure of the heat of a body expressed in degrees Celsius, right? So temperature is, you know what temperature is, right? Living in India or anywhere, we are being affected by the heat all around. So temperature is not only about heat, it's also about cold as well. So yeah, so that is temperature for you. Now soon, what we'll do is we'll put all of this together and in a formula, and we will link all these things together. But for today, I want you to get back and read a bit more about density, pressure and temperature. If you want, you can go ahead and read more, but yeah, this is what initially I would want you to read, because the next few classes would be about this, and it would of course help you in the future of of your flying journey. So that's it for today, guys. I'm trying to keep it as simple as possible, but I know that I'm not a teacher in the first place. I'm just trying to learn as well as help you. So if you have any doubts, feel free to reach out to me. Happy learning. Cheers.